Hey everyone! Today we're exploring another chilling and disturbing case. If you'd like to support the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and stay engaged. It really means a lot. I truly appreciate it. Now, take a deep breath and let's dive in. For 15 years, he lit a candle every birthday for the family he never stopped waiting for. But when he dug up their buried truck in the desert, what he found inside didn't just break his heart. It shattered everything he thought he knew about his own father. In June 2009, Paul Walker, a well-respected high school science teacher and devout church deacon, took his wife Rebecca and their 9-year-old daughter Lily on a weekend camping trip to Mojave Desert. They never came back. A search party scoured the desert, but no vehicle, no bodies, and no clues were ever found. The case went cold within months. Most assumed they succumbed to heat stroke, dehydration, or simply got lost. Left behind was 17-year-old Adam Walker, who'd stayed home for exams, grieving a family that had vanished without a trace. 15 years later, Adam received a cryptic, anonymous envelope containing nothing but a hand-drawn map and 4 chilling words. They're still out there. Following the map's coordinates, Adam drove deep into the Mojave. After hours of scanning the terrain, he discovered a shallow depression in the sand, unnatural and too perfectly shaped to be random. He started digging. 6 feet down, wrapped in plastic sheeting, was his family's missing blue Ford F-150. Inside the truck, the air was suffocating with decay and dust. Adam found the skeletal remains of Rebecca and Lily in the back seat. Hands bound, mouths gagged. Rebecca's wrists were tied with a rosary. Paul Walker's body was not inside. Forensics confirmed the remains were indeed Rebecca and Lily. The vehicle had been buried deliberately, likely within days of the family's disappearance. The cause of death? Suffocation. No signs of external trauma. It was slow and intentional. Hidden beneath the passenger seat was a rusted cassette player with several labeled tapes. Authorities managed to recover one clear recording. She begged me to stop, but the voice of God was louder. I had to cleanse them. They were impure. He will understand. The voice was unmistakably Paul Walker's. Police reopened the case, now treating Paul as a prime suspect in a double homicide. But more secrets unraveled. They discovered that 3 months before the camping trip, Paul had taken out a $500,000 life insurance policy on Rebecca, naming a mysterious spiritual overseer as beneficiary. Church documents were uncovered linking Paul to a woman named Rachel Keene, a married member of the same congregation. Witnesses described their too close relationship as an open secret. But that wasn't the worst part. Rachel gave birth to a child 6 months after Paul's disappearance. DNA later confirmed. The father was Paul Walker. Paul hadn't died in the desert. Just 3 weeks after the discovery of the truck, surveillance footage from a gas station in Montana, 600 miles away, showed a man matching Paul's description, purchasing a burner phone and looking directly into the camera. Fingerprint analysis confirmed it. Paul Walker was alive. But here's the part no one can explain. Next to the remains in the truck was a second cassette tape. Too badly damaged play. Forensic specialists are working to restore it. But according to the label, it was recorded 2 weeks ago. If Paul didn't just murder his family, but also return to the scene 15 years later, what is he trying to say now? And why send a map to his own son? After weeks of forensic audio restoration, the FBI was finally able to extract partial content from the second cassette tape, the one labeled June 2024, found in the truck and dated 15 years after the murders. The tape revealed Paul speaking in a disturbingly calm tone. You found them. Good. The path is open now, Adam. You were always meant to be the witness. Follow the signs. Finish what I started. Investigators immediately wondered, was Paul taunting his son or inviting him? The tape ended with strange ambient sounds. Water dripping, something metallic clanging, and a faint choir singing in Latin. For Adam, it wasn't just a message. It was a summons. Following clues in the tape, Adam retraced his father's last known movements and uncovered something horrifying. In a rural county just outside Missoula, Montana, locals spoke of an off-the-grid religious community called the River of Cleansing Light, a group that had been recruiting members since 2010. The leader? A man known only as Brother Eli. But when Adam found a photo of the group from a recent surveillance file, his blood ran cold. Brother Eli was Paul Walker. He had reinvented himself as a religious prophet and had been hiding in plain sight for over a decade, running what appeared to be a cult. According to defectors, Paul preached a radical doctrine of sacrifice, claiming that purity only comes through pain and submission. He called his original family the first offering. Meanwhile, a 13-year-old girl named Eliza Browning had recently gone missing from a nearby town. Her mother told police that Eliza had been lured into a religious retreat through secret text messages and a man who spoke of chosen children. The last person to see her alive described a man who looked like a preacher with dead eyes. Authorities feared that Paul, now brother Eli, was recruiting children for something even darker. Adam was devastated. His father's evil had evolved. Armed with a warrant, police raided the cult compound late one night. Inside, they found ceremonial robes, jars of ash labeled with biblical names, and photographs of various girls, many of whom were still missing. But what they discovered in the basement shocked even the most seasoned investigators. Behind a false wall was a room filled with hundreds of handwritten journals, each marked with date and a name. The journals contained graphic descriptions of sacrifices, cleansings, and messages directed at Adam. One entry, dated just 3 weeks before the raid, read, "He is coming. My son, my seed, my second prophet. He will understand. He will forgive me. He must take the final step." But Paul, brother Eli, was gone. Hours before the raid, he had vanished, leaving behind only a note scrawled in blood on the compound wall. The reckoning has begun. And then, a few days later, Adam received another letter. This one had a photo inside. It showed Eliza Browning, alive, and standing behind her, in a dark cave lit only by candles, was his father. The photo was studied carefully by investigators. Using rock formations in the background and a reflection in a glass jar, geolocation specialists narrowed down the possible site to the Crystal Caverns, an abandoned silver mine network deep in the Bitterroot Mountains of Montana. But there was a problem. The mines had been sealed off after collapse in 1994 that killed 3 workers. Paul had clearly found a way in. Authorities believed Eliza, and possibly others, were being kept inside. That's when Adam made a controversial decision. He insisted on going with the search team. On July 3rd, 2024, a joint task force of FBI agents, state police, and cave rescue experts entered the mines with Adam. Inside the first chamber, they discovered ritual markings on the walls. Crosses painted in blood, names carved into the stone, and verses twisted from the book of Revelation. Then came the most horrifying discovery yet. A makeshift altar, draped in a child's white dress, with 7 Polaroid photos nailed into the rock. Each photo showed a young girl, smiling, eyes later scribbled out with red ink. 4 of the girls had already been reported missing from nearby counties. A note scrawled beneath the altar read, "The final 7. The 7th shall rise." But Eliza wasn't among the photos, which meant somehow she was still alive. 2 hours into the search, a team member's body cam picked up something chilling. The faint sound of a child crying. Then, behind the wall of collapsed stone, they heard a voice, a man reciting scripture. "Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death." It was unmistakably Paul Walker. They were close. But just as the team began clearing the rocks, an explosion rocked the tunnel from somewhere deeper inside. Dust choked the air. The team was forced to retreat. It had been booby-trapped. That night, back at the temporary FBI camp, Adam sat alone with the journals taken from the cult compound. In one entry, Paul described a second prophet, one born as bloodline who would understand cleansing fire and bring forth the 8th. The writing became unhinged, erratic, almost frenzied. Then Adam found something that stopped his breath. A sketch of a child's face, with his own name beneath it, and above it one word, baptized. For the first time, Adam began to question whether Paul had ever intended to kill him back in 2009, or whether he had been grooming him for something else. The next morning, agents received a 911 call from a gas station 80 miles away. A little girl had been found, barefoot, disoriented, and terrified. It was Eliza. She had escaped, But when she was asked where the others were, she whispered only one word: below. And then she passed out. After regaining consciousness in the hospital, Eliza was visibly traumatized. It took 2 days before she could speak. Her first words? He called me 1 to 7, but said the 8 would bring the blood. She described a cavernous chamber beneath the mine, lit by candles and filled with cages. Paul, brother Eli, told her and the other girls that they were brides of the new order, hand-picked to witness the purification. She said he often talked to someone who wasn't there. He called him the witness, said he'd come back, said it was his own son. The FBI froze. He was talking about Adam. Eliza told investigators that there were 7 girls, each numbered by Paul and tattooed with Roman numeral. She was 4. 2 others, I and 3, had gone missing inside the cave weeks before she escaped. But she remembered Paul's last words to her before she fled. The 8 doesn't wear a dress. The 8 wears guilt. They believe Paul intended for Adam to be the final offering, or possibly the successor to his twisted legacy. FBI profilers now feared this wasn't just about mass murder or religious fanaticism. Paul Walker was orchestrating a generational ritual, and Adam was at the center of it, either as a target or a participant. Days later, a flash drive was delivered anonymously to a local news station. The footage was grainy, but unmistakable. Paul Walker appeared on screen, standing in a candlelit cave. His eyes were sunken, his beard long and matted. Behind him were 5 girls, some crying, some blank-faced. One looked no older than 8. Adam, it's almost time. I see now why he spared you. You carry the burden. You carry the fire. You will come. You must come. Then he lifted a Bible, its pages soaked in what appeared to be blood, and whispered, "The 8th shall choose lighter flame." The video ended with static and GPS data embedded in the file. The location? A deeper shaft of the abandoned crystal caverns, one not previously mapped. The FBI geared up for a second raid, but this time they brought in someone unexpected. Adam. He insisted on going. "I know how he thinks," he told them. "If I don't go, he'll kill them." But agents were divided. Was Adam the key to stopping his father? Or was Paul trying to finish what he started? Before they left, Adam found a message carved into his hotel room wall. Done while he was sleeping. Just one word. Ready? No prints. No sign of forced entry. Just a message from his father. As the team descended into the newly discovered shaft, their radios crackled with interference. And then they heard it. A soft, rhythmic sound echoing from deep within the darkness. A girl humming a lullaby. And underneath it, a voice. He's here, armed with infrared scanners, body cams, and weapons. The FBI task force entered a hidden shaft revealed by Paul's cryptic video. The tunnels grew narrower and hotter. The deeper they went, the more erratic the layout became, almost like a maze designed to disorient intruders. On the walls, burnout candles, drawings of angels with no eyes, and verses smeared in ash. Then they found it. A large chamber with 7 stone seats arranged in a circle. One seat was broken. In the center, an altar. On it, a burnt Bible, a knife, and a vial of blood. One word was etched into the stone in dried crimson. Choose. Just beyond the chamber, in a smaller, colder room, the agents found 4 of the missing girls, alive, dehydrated, and traumatized, but physically unharmed. They had all been drugged and kept in the dark. Each wore a ceremonial gown and had their Roman numeral tattooed behind the ear. But one girl was missing, number 7. When agents asked the girls where Paul had gone, one simply whispered, "He's waiting for the fire and for Adam." That's when the alarms went off. Motion sensors planted at the outer perimeter of the cave had been triggered. Someone was inside with them. A separate chamber was discovered, filled with books, old VHS tapes, and a mattress on the floor. It appeared to be Paul's sleeping quarters. Among the tapes, Adam found one labeled, "Baptism, the First Flame," against FBI orders. He played it. The footage showed Paul holding baby Adam in a bathtub. Paul was sobbing, muttering scripture, and pouring water over Adam's head. But the water turned red. In the corner of the frame, Rebecca, Adam's mother, was seen screaming, tied to a chair. The video cut out. Adam collapsed. Just as the agents prepared to evacuate, the lights went out, and over the cave speaker system, Paul's voice echoed. You were always meant to be the flame, Adam. Not the fire that destroys, but the fire that cleanses. Come to me, alone, or they all die. Cameras showed Paul dragging number 7 toward a cavern filled with lit candles and gas canisters. He wore a crown of thorns and held a lighter. He had turned the cave into a funeral pyre. The FBI commander refused to let Adam go, but Adam had already slipped away. Body cam footage from a pursuing agent caught the final seconds before the feed went black. Adam entered the final chamber. Paul turned, arms outstretched like a crucifix, smiling. Welcome, my son. Let the baptism begin. And then the feed cut to flames. In the suffocating heat of the chamber, Adam found himself face to face with the man he once called Dad, now draped in white robes soaked in blood and oil, standing before gas canisters rigged to detonate. Behind Paul, the last missing girl, number 7, was bound to the altar, her eyes wide with terror. All these years you hated me, Adam said, but you followed me. Paul smiled, because deep down you know I was right. Adam tried to stall him, speaking calmly while agents scrambled to reroute through a secondary tunnel. But Paul wasn't interested in escape. He wanted redemption through destruction. Paul began to confess, not to Adam, but to God. He called his wife and daughter sacrifices of purity, and claimed the girls were chosen to be reborn as vessels of light. He revealed that long before the camping trip, he had been part of a secret radical sect within the church, one that believed in generational cleansing. He was chosen to begin the 8th cycle. And Adam, born in blood, was meant to inherit the mantle. You were baptized in your mother's screams, Adam. That made you chosen. Adam's body shook with rage. But more than rage, guilt. A part of him still wondered, what if it's true? Paul held out the lighter. Freedom, Adam. Burn the sin. You must finish it. Just as Paul moved to light the gas canister, Adam lunged. The two struggled, father against son, amid flames rising from oil-soaked floors. Adam managed to cut number 7 free, screaming at her to run. But Paul grabbed Adam from behind, whispering, if you don't cleanse the blood, it will follow you. You will become me. Adam had one chance. He grabbed the lighter, and instead of igniting the gas, he turned it on Paul, lighting his robes ablaze. Paul screamed but laughed through the pain. Yes, yes, baptize me. Adam escaped, dragging the girl as fire roared behind him. As Adam and number 7 made to the outer tunnel, a blast echoed through the chamber, the roof of the cave collapsing behind them. Emergency responders rushed in and pulled them out just seconds before the rest of the system caved in. Inside, no trace of Paul Walker was recovered. No body, just ash. Or so they thought. 3 days later, as Adam recovered in the hospital, a nurse handed him an envelope found inside his backpack. No one knew how it got there. Inside, a burned half-melted cassette tape and a note in his father's handwriting. One fire ends, another begins. See you soon, Prophet. The FBI's audio forensics lab worked on the warped cassette for days. When they finally restored a portion of it, what they heard was haunting. If my body dies, the word does not. The bloodline is unbroken. He carries it now. The 8th flame will light the 9th. Adam listened to it alone, and something inside him cracked. He began questioning everything. His childhood memories, his nightmares, even the blurred line between who his father was and who he was becoming. Was the evil in Paul Walker or in the blood? As investigators dug deeper into Paul's past, they discovered a hidden storage locker in New Mexico. Inside, boxes of handwritten letters, VHS tapes, and birth certificates. One caught their attention. A birth certificate belonging to a boy born 2 years before Adam. Mother, Rebecca Walker. Father, Paul Walker. Name, Ezekiel Walker. There had been another child. The record showed Ezekiel had been placed in a spiritual foster home run by a now-defunct extremist church Paul was once affiliated with. The church was later investigated for ritual abuse and child trafficking. Most of its members disappeared. But now, one name stood out on a recent missing persons bulletin. Ezekiel Walker, age 34, wanted in connection to a fire at a halfway house in Utah. 5 victims, all burned. Suddenly, everything Paul said made sense. The 8th doesn't wear a dress. The 8th wears guilt. The 9th follows. Paul hadn't meant for Adam to become the next prophet. He was using Adam to awaken the real one, his firstborn son, Ezekiel, a child raised in secrecy, a child raised in fire. And now that child had emerged, burning homes, burning people, carrying his father's legacy like a torch. Adam moved out of the spotlight. He declined interviews. He refused book deals. But one night, while cleaning out his father's belongings, he found a final envelope sealed in wax. Inside was a photograph, grainy but clear. It showed Ezekiel standing outside a rural church in Idaho, watching a group of children. On the back, in Paul's handwriting, blood finds blood, flame finds flame. And then 3 churches burned to ground across 3 different states. Inside one of them, carved into floorboards, the 10th is listening. Is Ezekiel now carrying out Paul's twisted legacy? Or has something even darker begun? Was Paul just beginning? The Walker family saga ended in fire, but the cult's shadow still lingers. Some say evil can be stopped. Others say it simply changes form and waits for someone new to believe in it. This has been the story of Paul Walker, the river of cleansing light, and the legacy of the 8th flame. What are your thoughts on this case? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel to stay updated with more stories, where each case isn't just about crime, but also offers a lesson for life.